Have you ever felt unloved and not worthy of success and happiness in life? Have you experienced moments or days where you feel there's nothing to look forward to? Is there anyone in your life who loves you unconditionally, deeply, and you keep feeling that you need to do something extraordinary to make them proud, to have some sort of appreciation for them that you're worthy of their love? I've gone through all these moments. I've gone through all these questions, and not in a fun way, not even in a spiritual way. In fact, it was a traumatic time for my creativity and my confidence. And it was happening around the time when my first book, Break the Norms, was about to be launched. Here I was, the author of the book Break the Norms, which is, intended to inspire people, motivate people to break the norms. But I was going through a deep anxiety, a deep panic attack. Today, I'll be sharing with you how I went through this trauma and anxiety, how I faced this hopelessness, fear, and emerged out of it with some very powerful lessons. This is a story that I thought I'll never share with anyone. But I realized you deserve to hear it because it might inspire you and help you in moments of your anxiety and pain. And I've realized the more I have shared this story, the more power, self-realization, and awareness I have cultivated. Now, take a deep breath, relax yourself, and let's get ready to feel the heart and stay receptive to this experience. I am Chandresh Bhardwaj, and this is Break the Norms. So this happened a few months before the book launch. I worked very hard on this book. I invested my emotional energy, my time, my money. A lot of stuff was invested in this first book, which I was actually making notes for this book since I was in 8th grade. So it was obviously very special. And I've always described this book releasing process as if you are getting your daughter married. You want to put your emotional self out there. You want to make sure it's done in the most beautiful way. Broke me down in a very deep way. I got this phone call from my publisher that the marketing team wants to have a conversation to make sure we do things rightly and the book gets the awareness that it deserves. And I'm someone who gives complete respect to the power of branding and marketing. I went to business school, so I see it in a very conscious and aware way. I don't want to blindly be dominated by marketing world, but if used it consciously, it could do a lot of wonders. So I was excited about the call. And when the call started, the marketing team, which was very helpful, they started sharing. So these are the things we think you should do to create the awareness. And we feel this is a book that needs this kind of promotion and that kind of promotion. And they shared some really wonderful things about all the stuff that I should do to create more awareness about the book. And after the phone call ended, I spoke with another few friends who are into online marketing and stuff, and they saw the whole idea of the book launch and stuff, and they gave me a few more ideas. This will bring the book out in a good way. So I'm someone who wants to do things in the right way. So I always meditate for a long time before the world sees my idea. I want to make sure it's done rightly. It gets the proper love. And after going through the phone calls with the book marketing team, my friends, I realized I am not doing any of these things to promote the book. And the book is, just a month or two away now. And I didn't even realize when I started falling into this depression and anxiety about the book. I was fearful about a couple of things. Number one was, I'm going to disappoint my guru, my father, and I'm going to disappoint the other two very prominent people associated with the book. Number one is His Holiness Dalai Lama, who endorsed the book by writing this wonderful foreword, and Deepak Chopra, who also wrote the foreword. And they both were so generous, so sweet in writing this for me. And for the next few days, I could only see these three faces: my father, Dalai Lama, and Deepak Chopra. And I know most of you must have seen pictures of Dalai Lama smiling and all happy on the web, on his website, on Instagram, and all the places. But I saw Dalai Lama being angry, and he was so angry. He's looking at me, and I thought he's going to slap me now. That you disappointed me. You wasted my time by making me write this forward, which I didn't write for many years for any other book. So I was having these hallucinations, these imaginations, and they were taking away my strength. They were draining me, exhausting me in every possible way. And anxiety is a very interesting thing, right? You don't know when it starts to have power over you. And for so many years, I've been teaching at the drug rehabs and other meditation schools. And every time I ask people, what's your biggest challenge? They tell me anxiety is our biggest challenge. And I felt their pain for the first time when I went through this pain, this anxiety. And I wasn't liking it. Every day I was feeling weak. I was feeling hopeless. And there were days when, while having lunch, I was holding tight to my chair because I thought I'm going to faint or fall down because my head was spinning with thoughts of disappointing my teachers and being a failure with the first book. For some of us, success and failure starts to define who we are. And I clearly feel I was in that mindset in that moment. My identity was being defined by my sense of success or my sense of failure. And I didn't want to be a failure. And these thoughts were haunting me every day. They were defining my identity. They were defining my happiness. And I started seeing that it was affecting my personal relationships. It was affecting how I was interacting with my own self and with the people around me. And in these moments, you're not able to receive love. Forget about giving love. You're not even able to receive love because your heart builds this wall, it builds this crazy giant wall of coldness that I don't want love from anyone. Maybe I don't deserve love from anyone because I'm a failure. I'm going to be a failure. And we feel people love us because we are, being successful, or we are being nice and sweet to others. That's why they love us. Love feels conditional many times. The root of love is unconditional, right? It's not based on any conditions or transactions. But when you're going through fear or anxiety, you don't know anything. You just keep believing the narrative of your mind. And my mind was telling me, you're going to disappoint the teachers. You're going to be a failure. This book is not going to make any impact. You were making the notes for this book since 8th grade, but look at you, you're not doing the right job to promote it. You're not giving it the attention, the energy that it deserves right now. And it kept on happening every day. There was one morning I woke up and I literally told myself that I think today I'm going to cry in the shower. And I got up, walked to the bathroom, and before I could start my performance under the shower, I literally felt this voice, this message, this awareness, either from within me or around me. I have no clue. And the voice was very clear. It was like someone literally kept their hands on my shoulders and they held the other hand and they looked into my eyes and they told me, I know you are disappointed. I know you are feeling this fear, anxiety that the book may fail or maybe you'll end up disappointing your teachers. But there's a box of books that your publisher sent a few days ago. And you have not even opened the box. You have not even felt your book. Have you held the book in your hands? Have you read the words that you wrote in the last few months? The truth was, I did not even open the box. I got so trapped in this whole zone of fear and anxiety that I forgot to even open the box. And something felt very right about that voice in that moment. So I cancelled my performance of crying that morning. Instead, I walked out and, with the towel on my shoulders, I opened the box of the books and I sat down on this meditation cushion where I meditate every day. So I sat there, I held the book in my hands, and I felt the paper, the fragrance of the book. And something in me wanted to just close my eyes and hold the book in my hands and just meditate for next few moments. And I started to meditate. And there was this question that showed up while I was meditating. And the question was, what are you grateful for, Chandresh? In this moment, holding the book in your hands, what are you truly grateful for? And to my surprise, there were so many answers that I could witness. Number one was, Dalai Lama wrote the foreword of my book. What an honor. And as much as I know, he has not written a foreword for any book in the past couple of years. And my book is this special book that he chose to write the foreword. And when I read the foreword, it gives me so much empowerment. It gives me so much strength to keep leading in my mission. And I remember I had prepared a long pitch to impress Deepak Chopra that maybe I'll convince him to write the endorsement for my book. And when I met him and I shared this idea and I told him I'm writing the book on this, in less than 30 seconds, he agreed to write the forward, to write the endorsement. How special I am, how blessed I am. And in that moment, I realized the blessed gifts that I had while creating this book. And above all, the biggest struggle of every spiritual seeker is finding the guru, is finding the right master. And guess what? My father is my guru. My father has been my spiritual guru since I started this journey. And he contributed to this book by giving me so much freedom in practicing my spirituality, by guiding me, by holding my hand, by making sure I don't fall. And if I fall, he makes sure I learn the lesson from the falls. And secondly, I started seeing the names of people who have extended their support for the book already. And I got up after this meditation. I wrote the names of all the people who have reached out that they want to support the book. And then there were wonderful friends and tribe members who have always showed so much love and support to my work. I reached out to them. And I realized I have such a supporting tribe. I have such a powerful set of people around me who are going to support this book in many, many powerful ways. I remember I wanted Malika Chopra, daughter of Deepak Chopra, to write endorsement for the book. And I was very nervous in writing her because she's very sweet. She's one of the most humble and sweet humans I know. And I didn't want to put her in a space where, she feels uncomfortable saying no and all that. And it's tough for me to ask for favors, especially from friends and from people that I feel they're already in this pressure of doing things for other people all the time. And I remember when I emailed her that I would love to have your endorsement for the book. She was going for filming on for some TV show, and she responded in 5 minutes. She said, I'm walking into the studio for the filming, but yes, I would love to contribute to the book. And I remember being emotional and so grateful about that moment. And I felt so embarrassed that in this zone of anxiety and fear, I forgot about all these wonderful things that were happening to my book. But that's what anxiety does, right? So while I'm sharing this story, my first question to you is, what are you grateful for? What does gratitude mean to you? And finally, have you ever experienced anxiety, frustration, fear, which ended up revealing some deep lessons for you? I feel a deeper meditation on these questions may help you reveal some powerful truths about who you are and how you deal with anxiety, and what does great gratitude mean to you, and most importantly, what are you really grateful for in this chaotic life where things are moving so fast and relationships are not having the same warmth anymore. And it's just very interesting time. The technology has taken over the relationships, I feel, and we have an option, we have the choice to invest in the areas where we feel they deserve the attention, they deserve the love and time. I personally feel gratitude is more than just a statement, obviously. I personally feel gratitude is more than just an affirmation. I have experienced gratitude to be this receptive state of my awareness. Every time I'm open to life, every time I'm honoring the life, every time I'm allowing my life to bloom in its most organic way, I'm being grateful for this existence. It happens many times when we struggle against our desires, when we struggle against what we really need to do to grow, but we ended up making some wrong decisions. We ended up being impulsive. In that moment, we are not really being grateful for why we are in this planet. And for me, gratitude has been this state of openness toward life, state of love, state of being warm, state of just staying receptive to all the things that want to connect with me consciously in the most aware way. And while I'm mentioning this, I'm thinking of this incident that happened a few months ago. So I live in Hollywood. I divide my time in New York and LA, and very interesting place to be in. There's many mixed energies in this town. I see the highest of highs and the lowest of lows every day in Hollywood. And I walk every evening. I take time to walk 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, whatever I can do. It refreshes me and it keeps me energized. And on my walk, I see a lot of homeless people. If you live in LA or if you've been to LA, you know how San Francisco and LA and some cities they are loaded with homeless people. It's so much pain and sadness that's happening out there. So when I walk in the evening, I try whenever I can to give them something. I don't give money, but I try to give food. I'll buy sandwiches or water. Sometimes I'll buy them smoothie. They need it, they deserve it. And many times I end up knowing their story while they're ordering the food, and I get to know they have been through so much pain, they have been through so much craziness. And I feel happy that I was able to contribute some compassion to their life. So this incident happened a few months ago when I was at Subway. I got my sandwich. I was walking out, and then there was this homeless guy who was, I think, 6 feet or 7 feet tall, very sharp eyes. Uh, and he looked at me and he said, "Hi." And I asked him, "Do you want to eat food?" He said, "Sure." And I got him this sandwich. So when he started eating, I was leaving the store and he stopped me. He said, "My cart is outside and there's a suitcase there. So just open the suitcase and take whatever you want." I smiled. I said, "It's okay. Thank you." And then he said, "No, no, it's all new. It's not used. You can just pick anything you want and it's yours. It's my token of gratitude for you." Uh, and I couldn't say anything, and I just smiled and I started walking. And then he again stopped me and he said, "Hey." I looked back and he said, "I love you. Thank you." I could not respond back to him in that moment with "I love you too" or "you're welcome" or anything, because his energy in that moment gave me such emotional wave, emotional state of mind. There was something so authentic and so deep and so spiritual about that man in that moment. And what surprised me that I could see his suitcase. It was an old suitcase where they keep their little stuff. And he's homeless. He doesn't have a home, but he's willing to give me something because I gave him his dinner. And he said, "That's my token of gratitude for you." And then he said, "I love you" to me, but his "I love you" was authentic. It was filled with gratitude. And I realized, although I am in a job where I constantly say thank you, I love you, and people tell me the same thing, but coming this from that homeless person in that moment, it moved me, it changed something in me, and my perspective of these people who don't have homes, it went on a different dimension. And the reason I'm sharing this story is you never know when gratitude can start healing you. So it's important to not only give the gratitude, but also receiving gratitude is so healing, so empowering. So staying open to life, staying open to all that wants to connect with you, that's gratitude, that's healing, that's life. And meditation is all about receptivity. It's all about opening your heart to love. It's all about opening your senses to all the intuitive guidance, all the fearlessness, and all the courage that wants to cultivate in you. While I'm telling you all this, why don't you pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I open to compliments? Am I open to gratitude and love coming from others? Of course, most of us are open to compliments and gratitude when it comes from the people we know. But when it comes from the people that we don't know, we act awkward. We don't know how to receive compliments. We don't know how to receive the gratitude. I have done a lot of interesting experiments. One goal of mine with this podcast today is that you start becoming more receptive, more open to the love and gratitude that's coming your way. I mean, just look out around you. Look at the people who are around you. It could be your family members, could be strangers on the street, could be just, someone who's walking and you're watching them from the window right now. All of these people would love your warmth. They would love a compliment from you. They would love a note of gratitude from you. And you should be in the same state of receptivity as well. All of us are longing for this compassion, warmth, acknowledgement, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's how we are going to build this healing and love through gratitude. I truly hope that you become more and more open to compliments that come your way and honoring your own existence in the best way possible. And last but not the least thing that I want to share with you is all of us are, very amazing in being grateful for the things that are working in our favor. But we don't find any gratitude in being grateful for things which are not working in our favor. And that's where I feel so much of the potential. In my life, I have truly witnessed it. I have lived this mantra. There are a lot of people who see me now and they compliment the accomplishments that they see or whatever success they witness in me. They talk about it, they praise it, and I feel great about hearing it. But the truth is, if I have done 20 things in the last 10 years, I have failed in 18 things. Yes. And I am not at all angry, grumpy about those 18 things because a deeper understanding and honoring of those 18 things cultivated a sense of gratitude and wisdom in me, which ended up giving me the lessons that I used for the two things that I became very successful in. And I remember when I failed in those things, even the people around me would tell me, this is terrible, it should not have happened, you should not have trusted, or blaming everything from the Mercury in the retrograde to the full moon to the astrology chart. And I did not like the sound of it. That's a topic for a different podcast. But the point is, I did not want to blame anyone. I did not want to sulk or be angry about the situations because I clearly felt being angry is draining me. Being angry is not doing anything good for my energy. And I need to shift the narrative in my mind. And I shifted it by understanding the deeper lessons that this whole story was holding for me. But I didn't realize that I'm going to have 18 such experiences, or number of them. I don't even know if it was 18 or 80. I have lost count now. But I celebrate the success that was born from these experiences. And I'm very grateful that I stayed open to all things that did not work in my favor, because they all ended up in doing something really, really powerful. In fact, I remember before I started writing the book Break the Norms, I faced some very interesting situations where I felt I'm being suppressed, or I'm not being given freedom, or I need to express myself more, and on, all these things were there. And that's when I started writing the notes for Break the Norms. And I clearly remember it was 2 a.m. in New York when I registered breakthenorms.com on the domain website where you buy the websites. And I was not happy that day. I was angry with tons of things happening around me. And I paused for a moment and I realized I need to be grateful for this anger, this situation that happened. And I'm going to channel this anger in some positive way, some mindful way. And that's how breakthenorms.com was registered. And things started shifting as an author for me from that night onward. Because when you truly express your gratitude for something that even went against you, then things change. I mean, look at the life of Gandhi. He was one of the most interesting leaders in the fight for Indian independence who said, I'm not going to be violent. I'm not going to be loud. I'm simply going to be mindful. I'm simply going to use peace as my only tool. The peace is going to be my only weapon. And through that peace, through that gratitude, he ended up creating such a revolution in India. And people today globally love him. They adore him. They talk about his journey. I truly feel gratitude can do wonders for your soul, for your healing. So before I sign off, I would love that if you could reflect on the questions that we discussed in the podcast today, and write down 10 things that you are truly grateful for, and maybe read them few times in a week. And after 1 month, revisit that list and see if you have to delete something old and create something new. Trust me, this simple exercise will start healing your heart in such a powerful way. And as I sign off, I'm feeling very grateful that you listened to this podcast, and I created this, and all the amazing people who helped me, inspired me in creating this lovely podcast called Break the Norms. Do join me on Instagram at CB Meditates. That's also my website, cbmeditates.com. I would love to know your comments, your questions from this podcast. I hope this podcast may travel through the untapped universe of your darkness, light, courage, passion, and so much more. Please do subscribe and be ready to break your norms. I am so excited and very honored to be part of your sacred journey through this podcast.